The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, JT, is the receiver rooms in the AFC South. And I meant to make a slide for this. Let me, we're going to bootleg it here, and I'm going to share my screen because I have it pulled up. Here is, let's hope this works right. Yeah. So this is what our rundown looks like. It's just a Google Doc. And here's my tweet from earlier of the receiving rooms in the AFC South. Let's talk about the groups, because dare I say, is this a passing division now in the AFC South? That this is as strong a collection of receivers in this division as I can remember. So with the Colts, you got Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell, who they just added, Alec Pierce, is it Alex Doolin or
Ashton Doolin?
Ashton Doolin, and then Gould, Anthony the receiver. Gould.
Yep.
What's his first name?
Anthony
Gould, another receiver they just drafted, who is a slot only special teamsy kind of guy. The Jaguars got big old Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., who they just drafted in the first round, Christian Kirk, Moneybags Kirk, Devin Duvernay, Parker Washington, I believe a Penn State product from last year, 6th round pick, something like that. And then is that Charlie Jones there at the end? I think. I don't know. Well,
I have no idea.
So I wrote it down earlier and I forgot. Jones is their 6th guy. The Texans, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, very strong starting 3. We know this. Noah Brown. We'll talk about this in a minute. But their room really reflects the Titans like quite closely. And then of course Bobby Trees, former Titans legend, Robert Woods. And what's his first name? Mechie.
Noah Brown, John Mechie
the third. And then the Titans with Ridley, Hopkins, Boyd, Burks, NWI, and Phillips. No introduction needed there. Before we rank them, the only receiving group in this division right now where I look at it and I say, I don't think it's got superstar potential, that's the Jaguars. Just because even if Brian Thomas Jr. becomes an alpha 1 and is just a stud early, which I don't think is likely. I think he may take a little bit of developing, may take a year or two. It's still after him. It's Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk, and then a pretty notable drop off in my eyes to Devin Duvernay and Parker Washington. But the rest of these groups, man, I really like them, and I think they all have star potential. If A.D. Mitchell is like a dare I say a 1, if he really just puts it all together because he has the skill set to do that, or at maybe a more realistic, really strong 2, so Michael Pittman Jr.'s 1, and then you got Josh Downs as your 3. That's a really awesome group of 3 players. And Alec Pierce is your 4th depth guy. I like what you're cooking there. And then our buddy James came on the other day talking about how he really likes this Gould kid, Anthony Gould, as a potential deep threat, Speedy Gonzalez type of guy. So they've got a ton of potential. We know the Titans. We've talked about their potential. If Burks hits and NWI being a nice 5th option and these top 3 guys having the juice we've seen them have in past years, that all goes well. And they could be a dangerous group of receivers. And then the Texans, it's not really hard to say, okay, Nico Collins, ascending young player, he's sick. Stephon Diggs was a top 5, top 10 receiver in the league until 10 seconds ago. Maybe that was just a blip. Maybe he is still that dude. And then Tank Dell, if he can stay healthy, looked incredible last year to start. Noah Brown, really nice depth. I think the Texans and Titans match each other really, really well in terms of like comparing them. I think Ridley, Hopkins, Collins, Diggs is a relatively like parallel situation. I think Tank Dell and Tyler Boyd, I think Tank Dell is just a twitchier, more juiced up young version of Tyler Boyd as a slot, smaller body guy. And then Noah Brown and Treylon Burks, both big body 4th options that are traitsy as heck and, can develop and potentially be starters one day. I think they mirror each other really well. So that being said, I've vamped long enough, hopefully, JT, for you to put together your answer here. How would you rank these 4 rooms as we sit here on May 7th?
It's tough. You're right. This is a passing division now because there's a lot of good receivers around here now. Mm-hmm. I think the Texans, just based on the big 3 alone, deserve that number 1 spot. I don't know. I guess you could argue it. I don't really see an argument outside of, if you want to think that the Titans just have.
Well, if Tank Dell dies and Stephon Diggs is actually washed.
This is true.
That's the argument. That's the only argument.
The argument. But even then, Noah Brown, John Mechie, I think still has a lot of potential. Robert Woods is a nice 7th option, I guess.
Don't try to hype up Robert Woods. No, just don't. I appreciate the effort, but just it's okay.
No, I was trying to, dig. I was trying to throw a little dig at him at the same time.
Okay.
I would have put Cade Stover is probably more on this list for receivers than Robert Woods, but
that's tough.
And then we get to number 2.
Over stinks, but anyways.
we get to number 2, and I
Sure.
I think I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna put the Colts second, man.
How dare you? How dare you?
I really like the receiver room, man. I really do. I really do. It's
How
very
dare you?
close.
Outrageous.
It's really close.
You know what? I'm going back to that comment. He was right. Where is it?
Which one?
There, Awaken. He's right. That all this podcast is just taking shots at the Titans. You hate the Titans. He was the canary in the coal mine of today's episode.
I guess
he knew that you hate the Titans, and you couldn't help yourself in the 58th minute of the show.
I guess I couldn't. I really like the Titans. The Colts and Titans wide receiver rooms, I think, are razor thin between what's 2 and 3. I really like Josh Downs in that slot role. I think he was just an absolutely unbeatable guy last year if you get him in the right situation. I like what AD Mitchell can bring to that roster. Michael Pittman is just he's a move the chains king. Like if you need a first down, you're going to get it with Michael Pittman.
Eddie receiver.
And then Alec Pierce, I think he still has potential to be a good deep threat. And then, the last two are the last two, but just right there with the Titans, I think what the Titans have in technical, skills, I think the Colts have them bested in, athletic ability, but all right.
Derek wants me to, Derek, how do you know how tall JT is? He's just guessing. You got short vibes apparently, which is not
apparently great. Okay. I think that what the Titans have in the technical ability of these receivers, from a catch point perspective for the route running ability, I think the Colts have them beat in athleticism, and those are two things that you just got to kind of pick what you like. And I think that the Colts just have some athletic freaks, and then of course the Jags are last. Because that what is that room? Like it's so weird. It's so weird.
There's some talent in there. I don't know how it fits together, but there sure is some talent. I mean, we agree on the top and the bottom. I think that the Texans are the best room. I think the Jaguars are the worst room. With the Texans, again, it's going to take Diggs really being washed and Tank Dell just being too fragile to hang in the NFL for them not to be the best room. I think. They've got the depth. I like the Titans' depth a little bit more than the Texans, just because Mechie, while I agree, has some real potential. We've not seen it yet, so that's projection. And then I think Burks can be a much better player than Brown.
Yeah, I take a NWI over Robert Woods and John Mechie.
Yeah, agreed. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Wild personally. Thing to say, considering that this show has been around for 2 years, and now we're taking NWI over Robert Woods and John Mechie.
Remember, we were talking about Robert Woods like fantasy potential on a show at one point, which is
look how far we've come.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think the Texans are the best room because of their top 3 guys. I have belief in them. I disagree on the middle order, but parsed in this way, I think the Colts room has more potential than the Titans room. I think, if Josh Downs takes a year or 2 leap, AD Mitchell is the dude that we thought he could be if he put it all together and just figures out his off-field stuff and that puts all of that raw potential to use. And then Alec Pierce takes a step for like we've been kind of hoping he would for a year or 2 now. They could be a crazy good group. I'm not sure who the true one is. Pittman I see as a 1, but like an 1. I really do think Michael Pittman would be a awesome 2 somewhere. He's got kind of Devonta Smith vibes to me, not from a body, not from a body shape or gameplay, style standpoint, not in that way, but just like the reliability. If you could get him in that Devonta role of being the 1B 2 guy, he could just be a problem. That being said, he's a fine 1. Don't get me wrong. If AD developed into that 1, it'd be something. With the Titans, I think just like the likely outcome situation, they're more likely to be a better room than the Colts. But like you said, it's a razor thin margin. So I'll go Texans, Titans, Colts, Jaguars. It's May 7th, subject to change. At least one of these guys, historically speaking, is going to go down for the year and at some point in the near future, and it's going to suck and it's going to change the math. But until then, that's kind of where I'm at with these guys. And generally speaking, I think the point here being, man, this is a strong group of receivers and defenses in the AFC South. The secondaries in particular have their work cut out for them.
Which is why the Titans loaded up. They played it smart. They saw this coming and said, we're going to just get all of the good corners.
It's an arms race. It's an arms race. As Paul says, he prefers to stay in denial and believe the Colts will be terrible, as many Titans fans choose to do, as is your right. That's going to do it for us today. Man, good show. Strong stuff. Tyler Boyd, the Titan. Crazy times we're living in. If you told me it was going to be D-Hop, just 14 months ago if I told you this Titans receiving room is DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinal, Calvin Ridley, the once gambling Jaguar, and Tyler Boyd, the washed up old man, right up there in Cincinnati. Isn't he the bad one? Oh, actually, I need to look at his stats and realize, oh, this guy's still got some juice. I would have told you, stop it, Grandpa, put down the sauce.
Let's get you back in. Okay, Grandma, it's time for your
it's time for bed. Yeah, let's get your mid-afternoon soaps on and tuck you in. But now here we are. So